He is the president of the Civil Rights Congress of Nigeria. I was chairman of Hand in Hand Africa. He was also a leading figure in the struggle for the restoration of democracy in this country. He has been arrested and jailed by successive past military regimes and was released from life imprisonment when democracy was restored in 1999. So when in 1999, he had been jailed for life for different things that he had been doing. So democracy brought his release. That's very interesting. He contested and won the Kaduna Central District on the platform of the APC in March 2015. We want to welcome Senator Shehu Sani to the platform. How are you, my senator? Is he joined?
He's struggling with his network.
He's struggling with his network.
Yes, sir.
Okay. We will listen to him. Maybe Jumoke can give us a quick summary, if she's on top of it, of our discussions last week. Is there a quick summary, a quick rundown while we wait for him?
I think, and then I'll ask Pastor Sani and Pastor Lu to chime in. We've been talking a couple of weeks ago. We had this conversation on reprogramming Nigeria, and we talked about the historical content of how we got here today. But what do we need to do to begin to redefine or recraft the narrative to get us to where we need to go? And so we've been talking about having different sessions, and the judicial system is one of the topmost priority. We've been talking about electoral reforms with the new elections coming up, preparing for 2027. Is it just the citizens getting ready, or what are the electoral reforms? What do we need to be aware of, and how can we engage to ensure that we have some kind of today is a very difficult day, because it's like, what is really democracy in the country? What is the electoral system? And now the judiciary. So we are hoping that Senator Sani, actually being part of APC, can shed more light into that. So Pastor Lu, Pastor Sani, I don't know if you have anything else to add to that in our discussions.
Thank you very much. So, like you said, we are continuing the discussion on reprogramming Nigeria. It's obvious now and very, very clear that Nigeria really needs reprogramming. A whole lot of things that has happened just over the week has shown to us that indeed the life of the Nigeria does not really matter to the people at the hands of the affairs of government. They don't care about what a typical citizen is going through, or how life is affecting a normal citizen in the country. There's no justice, no protection, no security. You don't have access to good health. Education is in shambles. Things are not working, and the democracy is becoming expensive to operate. And we now know that we can't continue like this if we want Nigeria to continue to exist. So Nigeria is in dire need of serious reprogramming. So that is what we are continuing today. And that is why we want to speak about electoral and political system reform. If the electoral system is reformed and people are able to choose the leader that they want, then they'll be able to hold the leader accountable. They'll be able to know a competent leader from one that is not competent. We don't want leadership hijack. We don't want people to hijack leadership and use the instrument of court to impose things that the citizens don't want upon them. They've hijacked the military, they've hijacked the electoral system, they have hijacked the judiciary system, and the legislative system is just like a rubber stamp. So Nigeria is really in need of total restructuring and reprogram. So I believe that our speaker today will do justice to the topic and will give us good insight. And people on the platform will also chime in to, give us direction and the right path to having a good and sustainable democracy and a better country. Thank you.
Yeah, I was chatting with a political leader yesterday, and it was very, very interesting conversation as to how it seems as if all our what they call this thing, systems, or all our institutions have been taking control of, in this country, and the presidency and the leaders have taken control of all our institutions, and they are all doing their bidding. Even the judiciary procuring justice and just doing whatever they think is right, and having arguments and technical arguments for almost everything. So you can't even be sure that you will get justice when you come before them in Nigeria. And then he had one very profound statement to make. He said that when he was studying politics and leadership, I think for A-levels or for university, that his lecturers taught him one thing. He said that a nation gets the leaders that it deserves, or the leaders that it wishes for. He said in the case of Nigeria, it is clear that whether we like it or not, even if we say that the elections were procured, there was bribery, there was this and that, it is simply because the people agreed and allowed themselves to be bribed. And then others got paid and looked the other way. So therefore, it means that one way or the other, they have acquiesced to the leadership that emerged, whether it was gotten rightly or wrongly. Okay. The same way that if soldiers have a coup and they point their guns at you, as long as they are not ready to die, it means that you have also acquiesced to that leadership by reason of fear. So if you acquiesce it by reason of being induced and bribed, it means that, well, that's what you like. You like a leadership that will give you money, and you have therefore used your influence to silence the people, not to riot or not to protest, and to do whatever they like with election results. And as long as we all acquiesce, then that is fine. So that is the leadership that the generality of the people, or the most influential people, have agreed to. Well, there was a story in the Bible where they presented the people with two leadership options. In fact, not even leadership this time, options of favor. Who do we extend favor to? Who do we release from prison at the time of the celebration at the time of celebration of Holy Communion, time of celebration of Holy Communion. When you celebrate the Passover in Israel, the usual thing was that if there was a very serious prisoner, you were allowed to release one prisoner as part of the celebration of Passover. And they presented to them Barabbas, a known scoundrel and a thief, who had stolen a lot of their money and misbehaved, and everybody knew that he was a bad person, a person of no background, a person of no learning or education, a person who was a known corrupt thief and a wicked person who had maimed and killed a lot of people. And they said, this is the one that, this is an option. Then the other prisoner that we have of any repute is a man called Jesus Christ of Nazareth. To be honest, he just came into detention last night. We don't even know why he's here. There's no crime recorded against him. There's nothing that he has done of repute or note that we know. As a matter of fact, what we were told was that he healed the sick, he raised the blind, he set the lame free, he set the captives free. That's all that we actually have known or seen of him. Well, one or two people are not happy that he said that he would, that he's God and he's like God. Well, that's just conversation. That is not a crime in itself. It might be against the laws of Moses, but it is not a crime. And again, he said that he would collapse the temple and build it in 3 days. Again, there's no crime in somebody being boastful. If he thinks he has the energy to pull down a whole temple that took 7 years to build, with all the resources that Solomon put there, and then build it in 3 days, it's just an empty boast. Criminally, it's done nothing. Socially, it's benefited the people. It's even fed 5,000 with 5 loaves and 2 fish, forgiving sins. Again, another boast. Anyway, you have the choice, Barabbas or Jesus. Guess what? The people say we want Barabbas. We want Barabbas to be our president. It's always been like that. I've repeated many times my own personal experience, even at the age of 10 and a half, going on 11. In my primary school, I was only 10 years old. I was in primary 6. Must have been December, must have been January 1972. So I was not yet 11. Okay, I was 10 years and a few months. And people were given the opportunity to elect a school captain in my class. Would you want to be the school captain in my? We elected it from the primary 6, and I offered myself. I had come third in the exam. I was the leading boy academically. I was the sports captain already. That one wasn't by election. That was by appointment. The headmistress appointed me sports captain. I was clean. I was neat. I was organized. I had administrative abilities and everything. And the guy the guy didn't even compete. He didn't even offer himself. They just said we should choose one person. And they chose the guy who came last in class, the most untidy, the most irresponsible, the most disorganized. That's the person they said they wanted to be their school captain. The headmistress was shocked, totally shocked. And of course, he became school captain, and the whole school went into chaos. So that's the way Nigeria is. That's the way it is. Or not just Nigeria. That's the way the world is. I mean, the US, they decided to choose a Donald Trump, a bully, a man with about 40-something cases on his neck, a guy who had himself admitted to not rape as such, but the disdain and the bad treatment of women. A man who told lies, and you could see that he was lying. But the rednecks and the people in the United States of America say that's the president they want. You don't have a president who is shouting at people in the White House, bullying heads of state. Everybody is threatening them with the sanctions. A man committed an offense in Peru or somewhere like that, and is threatening Peru or whoever they are with sanctions that the man who committed the offense in somebody else's house, if they don't release him or they don't stop persecuting him, he's going to sanction them. How can a president take a decision of dealing with a nation on an internal situation of a man who had been accused of bad behavior, and he's saying that they must release the man, otherwise he will sanction them? No, it's unbelievable. He talks to the Liberian president, calls 5 African leaders to meet with him in his, they say, the people are standing up behind him, he's sitting down, meaning that some president is superior to the other. He looked at the Liberian president, he said, where did you learn to speak such good English? talked down at him. Every political gaffe, every diplomatic gaffe, almost was boxing the Ukrainian president the other day. Yet the Americans say that's the president they want. So if people get the leaders that they ask for. So what we have in Nigeria, and honestly, from today onwards, nobody should complain, and if you complain, I won't answer you, is the leader that we all have accepted that this is the leader that we want. We all have accepted it. Even if you are complaining and you are saying this and that and that and that, you are just wasting your time because you have accepted this gentle person as your leader. Okay, we accepted Buhari. He took us ways back. We accepted Jonathan. He did precious little, and so on and so forth. That is who we have accepted. So let us then, until we decide that we want somebody else, let us manage what we have accepted, and also we're able to save ourselves if we can. I don't know if our speaker is on, or we just want to have a general conversation again today. I hear he's having difficulty coming on. My friend Mr. Boniface Chizia, I see him is on the program. My brother is also here, Ethan Zamere. He may have one or two things to say. We've both been through a very interesting experience in the last few months. Jonke Olagbaju is also here. I know she likes to keep quiet, but we'll pull her out to talk. And of course, Lara Alagbada, my sister, I see her there. She may have one or two comments to make. Maybe we can have them say one or two things, starting with Mr. Chizia. Then I'm going to pull out Ethan. I want him to say something. Jonke Olagbaju, you must say something. And also Lara Alagbada, who's calling in all the way from the US. Would like to hear a comment or two about you, about the state of our politics, the state of our democracy, and whether there's any hope of redemption for Nigeria. Okay.
Mr. President, Mr. Sani, Senator Sani is in. We've just asked him to unmute. Pastor Lu, he came in with a phone number, iPhone. So please make him co-host so that he can turn on his camera and also speak. He's the iPhone. iPhone. I just asked him to unmute. I think we've lost him again. He was in with iPhone. Okay.
Hello?
Senator.
Okay, we can hear you. Yes.
Yes, I can hear you. Good. Thank you for having me in your program.
Thank you so much, Senator, for coming. You've been here before, and we're happy to have you again.
Thank you.
And we're just having a chit chat about Nigeria, our politics, the direction that we're going, and so on and so forth. When you came in, so thank you so much. Again, I know the sacrifices that you've made for this country. I hear that you were in jail, okay, just before the turn of the democracy, and so on and so forth. So we're talking about our electoral system and political system reform. From where you stand, and you're a member of our ruling party, the APC, I still think you're in that party. If I'm wrong, please correct me. Where are we in Nigeria in terms of our democracy, and what does the future portend for us? Please go ahead, sir.
Well, thank you for having me in your platform. Well, first of all, we should appreciate the fact that this is the first time in the history of our country that democracy has lasted for that long. And what is the future of it? Well, first of all, is that we have been through series of challenges and hurdles in our political history as a country. And the good thing about it is that we have always demonstrated resilience by overcoming these challenges. Many people may not see good about Nigeria, but if you look at other nation states or other countries in the continent, they will wish they are us. I have been to Sudan a number of times, which is a country about 3 times the size of Nigeria in terms of landmass. And I've been to Democratic Republic of Congo, Central African, some countries a lot. And how we view ourselves, our impression about ourselves differs because we should, in fact, be better than where we are, but we must appreciate the fact that we are making relative progress as a nation. We may not like the government that is in power, but our anger and hatred should also not be to our own country. This is a country that has achieved much more than other countries of the world. Let's go back and see. Just after our independence, Nigeria sent troops to the Congo and restored peace and order. This is a nation that has committed resources and manpower to the liberation of Southern Africa more than any country in the world. This is a country that has sacrificed its men and material in Liberia, in Sierra Leone, for the freedom and peace of that part of the world. This is a nation that has made a lot of contribution to Africa and the world. But the image we have in the outside world, this is a nation of scammers, of fraudsters, of corrupt people, and whatever. Now, all these countries that are calling us all these names are countries that today the US is saying that Ukraine must give it a mineral resource worth $500 billion before they protect them. And they are also signing a mineral deal in Democratic Republic of Congo before they help them to protect their country. These are things which we never did. And we made all these sacrifices and still the world see us in a negative light. Well, it is for us to now tell the world that this is the progress that we have made, and also to believe in ourselves and be proud of our own achievement and then move forward, even in democracy itself. I look at it generally in our own democratic experience as a country. In this country, people can express themselves, they can protest, they can go on strike. In Mauritania, in Algeria, in Morocco, in Tunisia, these are things that I'm not saying everything about our country is good, but we have achieved a lot as a nation. And if you look at the level of the level that we are in today, these are things we can fix ourselves. Now, this is a government that Nigeria has put in place, and the Nigerians are also, some Nigerians are organizing themselves to change over government, which they believe that it can be possible in a democratic manner. Now, these are all achievements which other nations do have. But as a country, we have made progress, but we have a long way to go. If you put into tally the problems of our country, then we need bold, drastic, and courageous reforms that will reset and reconfigure this country. What are the reforms? Reforms that we need to do. These are things we have to do and make sacrifices. For example, we've been talking of restructuring over the years now. What is restructuring? Well, there are political and economic restructuring. As a nation, we have 36 states. And to the knowledge of everyone, almost the overwhelming number of these states depends on federal allocation and resources from other parts of Nigeria. How many people are ready to make sacrifices by dissolving their state and merging themselves with other states in order for us to save cost? We have two national assembly, two arms of national assembly, the Senate and House of Reps. As a former senator, I know very well that what we do in the Senate is the something that the House of Reps are also doing. So what is stopping a structural reform that will dissolve one arm of the parliament and let us all go to one? Who will oppose it? The people who will oppose it are both the political elites, and there are people who will never work or live together, even when they are living from the same states. Now, you look at it in terms of election. Now, the only president in this country that has implemented electoral reform that has led to his eviction out of power is Jonathan. All in all, there have been series of electoral reforms in this country, which nobody wants to put his finger on because he knew that if you go deep into it, you may end up writing a suicidal note for yourself. So as a country, we have to sit down and do what we need to do. All this idea that it has to be somebody from my own part of the country that should be president. Now, Jonathan was the president of Nigeria for 5 years. Has he solved all the problems in Niger Delta? He has not. Buhari was the president of Nigeria for 8 years. Has that solved all the problems? He came and met insecurity and left insecurity. He met poverty and left poverty. He met out of school children and left out of school children. So it's important that this country, if we're going to move forward, we have to look at the country, do the needful, not for our sake, but for future generations. And then this country now can move forward. Political reform and electoral reform is very important. Political reform goes with economic reform. These are all necessary things we need to do to save cost, to dissipate energy and allocate resources to what is most important, a priority for our country. Electoral reform is necessary so that credible people, will get themselves into power through an electoral process that is credible, that is transparent, and that is honest. So these are issues we need to do. And when you talk of reform, people should know that it can't happen without sacrifices. And this sacrifice is where the problem is coming, because when you are used to a certain way of life, when they say there's going to be a change in your own life, which you have been used to for decades, then you will see there will be opposition from all sides. But we have to do the needful in order for us to achieve what we need to achieve. If we build institutions, if we restructure this country, whoever happens to be in power will still be the same, will still have to hold on. Now, we are talking of leadership in this country. You know it very well. People will talk that the leaders are bad. The leaders are bad. The very day you, as a person who thinks like them, come out and say you want to contest election, the first thing they will ask you whether you have money. So what do they need money for? They are not talking of money to eat when they go to vote. They are talking of to share money. To win election, you have to have billions to settle delegates. You have to have billions to buy wrappers, to buy food, to share money to voters. And this is the way leaders emerge. And then you emerge through such a process and they're expecting you to perform a miracle. So this is the problem that we are having in this country. I for one, know very well that if I don't have the resources to contest election, I will simply not waste my time. Because the very people that will tell you this country is bad, they need good leaders, are the same very people that will tell you to get money before you contest election. And the way the election is so materialized, so monetized by the political elite, makes it impossible for people who have vision.
We can't hear you, sir. Has it gone off?
He's still here. I see him. Maybe his audio is frozen. Pastor Luke, can you let his PA know his audio is frozen, please?
Hello?
Okay, we can.
Hello, sorry, your audio was frozen for a minute then.
Okay. for now, this is little contribution I can make. If we want to move this country forward, political reform is necessary, electoral reform is necessary. But for us to do it, we must know that it's not going to be easy because there are people who have to lose some certain privileges and some certain benefit which they have been enjoying for a very long time for us to achieve what we want to achieve. I made example with the National Assembly. At the Senate, we have 109. The Senate, we have 109 people. And at the House of Reps, we have 360. When you put all these things together, if you delete one of the chamber, you save a lot. And then the resources can go to where it can better be used. But who are ready for this? That is the major problem we have as a country. So I hope my view will make meaning to this platform.
Thank you very much. We'll open up the platform for questions in a few minutes. But
Right.
You were one of the people who fought for democracy. You were one of the people looked up to, considered an activist, and so on and so forth. Nobody seems to be fighting for political reform. Nobody seems to be fighting the political class. Nobody seems to be speaking up for Nigeria. Nobody seems to care about which direction Nigeria is going. And you've said it quite right, that even the people that you seem to want to fight for and educate, they'll be the first one person to ask you how much money you have and blah, blah, blah. So what do we do? Are we a sitting duck? Is there no hope? Is there a strategy? Is there a way out? Is there something you, Senator Shehu Sani, can do to help us in this quagmire that we find ourselves?
Well, you see, as a democratic nation, because it's not it's only when you have revolution that you can have a drastic. As a democratic nation, if we are going to make any fundamental changes, then people have to work hard and emerge through the system. But the ruling political elite are so conscious of their own power and privileges. So any person who try to infiltrate the system and take over position that will undermine or deny them those privileges, they will fight him to the nail. Every inch of Nigeria's political territory, or Nigeria's territory, is controlled by a certain godfather, whether it's a ward level or local government level or zonal level. If you are going through the bush of any part of Nigeria, if you want to know who control that area, just print a poster of yours and paste it there and put a billboard. The next day, when you come back there, you find that somebody has pulled it down. And they will ask you, did you seek the permission of so-so, Chief so-so and that, or Alhaji so-so and that before you fix it? You say, why can't I do it? I'm a Nigerian, I have to do it. They'll tell you, no. It's the person in charge of this area. If you go to poor people who are hungry, who are marginalized or oppressed by people in power, and talk to them of the need for them to free themselves, they will agree with you. They will identify with you, but not during elections. When election comes, they already have someone who already is in charge of that polling unit or that polling booth or that polling area. And people who control political territories, they don't just allow anybody to emerge as a senator, as a member of House of Reps, or as a local government chairman. They only allow people whose relationship with them is a cultish kind of relationship. It's a kind of loyalty, and an alliance of loyalty. So where do we go from here? People have to learn to organize themselves, to protect their votes, and mobilize people And if it is resources, they have to work hard to get the resources that will cut off the poor people from the enslavement of the political elites and see themselves through. If you don't do that, they will not. I have a typical has shares a carton of Indomie to tell you that if you want to, if you don't do that, they will vote for the other person. You tell them that by the time I'm there, I'm going to fight for you. They will tell you that many people have said that to them and we're not interested. So it has gone to that level. In 1999, you have been talking about those of us who fought for democracy. Yes, we fought for democracy. We went to jail for democracy. We suffered. But the mistake we made as people who fought was that at the very time when the nation was transiting to democracy, we refused to organize ourselves into political parties and continue our Aluta struggle. We never believed that Abdul Salam Abubakar or the democracy will rise, Gani Fawhimi, because we were divided into two. Some activists, many of us aligned with Gani, I refused to cooperate with the military. Others, when we had that meeting, aligned with Tinubu, who said he wants to participate in the transition program. And then those who wanted to participate in transition, we started calling them traitors who have sold out. They say, yes, they have sold out, but they are going to contest the election. They contested the election and won. Most of us continue our raising of placards and struggle. By the time we realized it, that the democracy is not going to come to an end in good time, it was too late. It was then that Gani decided to contest for the presidency under NCP. He couldn't go anywhere. Falana contested for the governorship, he couldn't go anywhere. Olisa Abakuba contested for the presidency, he couldn't go anywhere. Many people tried. They couldn't go. For me too, I have to contest 2 times. I lost until I remained tenacious until I got it at the third time. And by the time I got it, I started getting in trouble with the same political elite. So this is the situation which we found ourselves. And for anybody who wants to change Nigeria, the 2 options are there. Is either you get into mainstream politics and emerge and effect that change, and go to the grassroots and confront the problem with the common people and see how you can get them into it. For you to now look at it. People who were part and parcel of the destruction of this country from 16 years of PDP, they are now in the opposition. People who were part of APC 8 years, they are now in the opposition. One man, the former governor of Rivers State, he was speaker for 8 years. He was governor for 8 years. He was a minister for 8 years. That's 24 years of Nigeria's 25 years of democracy. And now for being out of power for 2 years, he said the country is bad. And people believe him. So you ask yourself, if these are the people, you are leaving Sodom and you are seeking salvation in Gomorrah. This is what we are doing now in this country. So until and unless younger people who have vision, who have ideas, will now say that there are 2 problems. The problem of the elite and the problem of the common people. The elite is you confront them, set up your political party. Then you go to the common people who are already trained by the elites and see how you can divorce them. Because if you go there, you have to know the problems they are facing themselves too. And then see how you can break it and then move on. There are places you go. What you are saying is the truth. But the common people will tell you didn't come, even within states, not as a country, as states, there are some people from a certain particular tribes that there is an established order that they will never produce a governor or they will never produce a senator. So you can see these are the hurdles that you get through in order for you to create change. But I believe that if we continue on this trajectory of fighting, of struggling, of getting actively involved to get into position of authority and power, we realize that. But we cannot change if we don't have the controls of levers of power. It's not possible for us to make any change.
Okay, I hear you, sir. I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. So, first of all, let me ask you, I don't know if you are still in the Kaduna area. What's the situation there in southern Kaduna and Kaduna? And what are your thoughts on what happened in Benue recently? Let me just take that from you, and then I'll ask my next question, and I'll hand over to the people.
Well, Kaduna is now relatively peaceful. There are those of us who are the House of Planning from northern part of Kaduna, and there are the Christians from the southern part of Kaduna. We have been having issues, crashes, problems, and violence for many years, religious, ethno-religious. But in the last 2 years, the governor of the state now, Sani, has been able to build bridges between the two sides by including the Christian side who have been systematically marginalized into governance. He gave them position, he gave them a sense of belonging, and now we are returning to a multi-religious and multicultural state. Now, because before he came to power, the point is that institutionally, they are not part of so many things. And they too know that the government that is in place then, the governor that is, don't like them. So it's like we were living in a form of like apartheid South Africa in those times against them. But for now, there is relative harmony with their people, with the Southern Kaduna Christians, now working together with those of us, House of Fulani Muslims from the north. And things are in that aspect working fine. And there is some parts of Kaduna now that because of the dialogue process between the governor and some leaders of the Fulanis, they have been able to achieve relative peace. You can move to Bidnengwari anytime in the night, anyhow. It was virtually impossible because Bidnengwari in Kaduna was the hub of terrorism and banditry. But now, things are relatively better. And the case of Benue, it's a disaster. Fulanis and the thieves were living for centuries together. Fulanis are herdsmen. The thieves is their ancestral land, and they're farmers. So at a certain point, this conflict is there. But we didn't do what we need to do. In 1960, Nigeria's population was almost about 35 to 40 million. Now it's 230 million. What you have been doing when the population was 35 million, and in the same piece of land, 900 and something thousand. So what you are able to do in those years, 5 decades ago, you can't say you still want to do it now. We need to have focused this and combat this and take care of all this problem, but we didn't do it. This is where we found ourselves. Farmers, herdsmen crisis, settlers, indigene crisis and violence. So we need to find a permanent solution to the problem of Plateau and that of, and it is the northern leaders that need to. Look at all these killings going on. Up to now, northern leaders have not sat down in Kaduna and talked to each other and find solutions. The people who are killing are from the north. The people who are killed are all from the north. They're not from Nigeria, they're not from Mali, they're not from Congo. If all the participants in this violence and the parties are all from the region, it is for the regional leaders to sit down and say it's enough, it's enough. How can a country of 230 million people be held ransom by bandits and criminals that are no more than 5,000? These are issues we need to all sit down. The region should sit down and find solutions to. But they are not. Everything is being politicized. The very people, Buhari was there for 8 years. He was unable to address the security challenges in the north. Bandits and terrorists were killing people everywhere. At that time, when I stood to talk in the Senate, northern senators will be attacking me that I'm destroying, I'm tarnishing the image of Buhari, and that terrorism and bandits were from God. Now it's happening under, and now it is happening under a southern president. They say the problem is from the president. Before it was God, now it's from president, because it's not from that part of the country. You may have your differences with the person in power. You may not.
We've lost you again.
He's still here. His audio froze. Okay, he's back in.
I'm
I
trying
think he
to reach
dropped
him
off.
again.
He dropped off now. Should be joining shortly. We've lost him on the platform.
Interesting.
I think we can continue the discussion while we reach this.
Okay, so
Join.
Oluso, what's your opinion on the issue of banditry in Nigeria and exactly what is going on here and there?
My opinion on the bandits and the attack in Nigeria is the insincerity of the government. Like Abacha said some years ago when he was at the helm of the affair, he said if insurgency exceeds more than a week in a country, then the government is complicit. So I want to believe that there are some group of people that are profiting by the state of insecurity that we are experiencing in Nigeria. Some people are making money off the deaths of people in this country, and that is why we are not having any respite to the situation of security in Nigeria. You see, the military has been infiltrated, the Senate has been infiltrated, the judiciary has been infiltrated. Even during Buhari's regime, a confessed Boko Haram apologist was in his cabinet. So it's the complicity of the government. That is why we are where we are today. And Senator is saying the right thing. You see, if a bandit or there's Fulani X-Men or whatever that are not up to 10,000 people cannot hold a country that is over 230 million to ransom, and nobody is doing anything. So it's the complicit of government. That is why we are experiencing what we are experiencing now. That's my opinion, sir.
Okay, that's interesting. Jumoke, what's your own opinion?
I'm a bit concerned with a couple of his introductory comments, talking about our past feats and how we were able to intervene in other countries. And, what is concerning me is how are we not able to intervene in our own country with what's going on, following up on what Pastor Ulu has just said. And I think one of the questions I wanted to ask him is this the democracy that he fought for and went to jail for us to be celebrating this kind of democracy in Nigeria? It is not democracy. So, that's some of the questions. And then he also talked about how the country, this administration is working. And here we are, Nigerian lives are lost on a daily basis, and there is no known strategy to address the loss of lives. Benway, which is resulting in food insecurity. These are the things that we know are happening. And so it's very painful when I hear the elite and people that have fought for democracy come up. And I know you did it is opinion, and we respect everyone's opinion. But these are the leaders, these are the elites, these are the ones that we're looking to for answers to get us out of this hole that we are in. But how do we discuss this? How do we chart the path forward if we can't even agree on what is really wrong with the country? So that's just for me. And to date, I don't know that we know how many Nigerians have been killed by terrorists and bandits. We don't have a true number. I did a quick research. UN has a different number. National Bureau of Statistics has a different number. The numbers are so disjointed, On a daily basis, some will say it's 20, another will say it's 200. Yet Nigerians are being killed every day in alarming numbers. And there is no known strategy to address it. There's no known strategy to address the food insecurity, which is probably going to lead to more and more loss of lives. So these are some of my concerns that I would like to hear from him, actually as a member of, what do they call them? APC? Yes, APC, the ruling class of Nigeria. So that's just some of my own thoughts. Thank you.
All right, no problem. So I don't know if Mr. Chizie is there and he would like to make a few comments before our guest comes back in.
Yeah, we have hands up. Do you want to take those hands? Mr. Chizie is here. His hand is up. Dr. Ogida and Mr. Omugu. Those are the three hands we have up.
Okay, unmute them one by one and let them talk.
Okay. Muted. Mr. Chizie. Go ahead, sir. We've asked you to unmute.
Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you. Itua, thank you very much. I listen to gentleman, Sani is my friend, but, democracy has been there since 1999, but the thing is, it's getting worse. So that's the challenge, so we're not making any progress. And so when we begin to celebrate the fact that it's been there for about 25, 26 years, but then we're like digging ourselves into a deeper hole, getting ourselves into a bind. Look at what is happening now. It's getting worse. I just read the Cybercrime Act signed into law. Let me cite a few things it says there. It says in an attempt to spread fake news, publish content that is deliberately misleading or deceptive, and that is rude, vulgar, offensive, it's been signed. Indecent, embarrassing, with laws attached, 2 years, 5 years, just been signed. We are saying that we have issues. You have democracy deteriorated, and then we don't seem to be getting out of it. And then the gatekeepers are those who are complicit. And so who is going to bear the cat? So that's a bigger challenge that I feel some concern. Who's going to bear the cat? So the whole place has been captured. Judiciary, legislature has been captured. And now you're not trying to silence people. So the voice of dissent, you now want to silence it. And so it's a terrible situation. He talked about reforms. I wish he was here so that he would listen to us and be able to talk of reforms. We're talking about restructuring. I think what is most important is political reform. We need to get our politics right. The last time I was here, I made that point. I'm so passionate about it. I think that if we can't get an election process to the extent that people would vote and the vote would count, then we are not making any progress. Because if you're in governance and you know that you go in there and then you spend your time and then the election comes and they're going to hijack it, run with it, and so on and so forth, it's not a la carte, then so we're going to be in the same position. But if you're in governance today, you've been voted in, and you want to, people are not concerned about legacy. What records they're going to leave, what will people say these are some of the things you did during your time. No, there's no concern about that. You just take power. And look at the essence of corruption in the land, the impunity. I keep on saying that. The man in River State wants to put CCTV in the State House, and it's budgeting to something billion naira. You renovate the National Conference Center for 39 billion naira. What is happening here? And they come out, they announce it, they celebrate it, and nobody's saying anything. Then I was looking to hear that document that's a post you just circulated. They're going to put street lights. One street light is going to be almost more than 250 million naira. And nobody's saying anything, nobody's protesting. So those are my concerns. We can begin to go into details. But I think that, yes, it's okay for us to say that our democracy has been here since 1999, but it's getting worse by the day. And then you find that people are not respecting protocols, we're not respecting seed wisdom, we're not respecting established practices. So you have a northern president has been in power for 8 years, and then you're going back, and then you want to contest election. The seed wisdom is that they select. You have north, you have south, so we oscillate. Sani talked about rotation is not the same, but it has to be. So the nature of Nigeria. People want to feel it, you have to include people, and then you're another, and then you now insist they're going to contest. And then you cause confusion in your party. You know that it's not a northern term. When you hold the place to ransom, and people are not able to challenge you, nobody can talk to you. It's not happening in the new political dispensation, who they're putting together. You put it together, and then you say, okay, the South, they've had 4 years, assuming you're going to be able to displace BAT, then okay, so we should have another 4 years. But then Northerners again are trying to contest and saying democracy. So democracy is that? So we have established practices. Let's keep it. And what we need in this country is somebody with good values. If you are corrupt, we don't want you. If you are corrupt, because leopard does not change the sport overnight. It's so tempting. The resources they have is so tempting. And the looting that's going on here is incredible. I'll stop here. And, Hello.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Well, I hope you had me anyway. That's what's important.
I heard you. You spoke with so much passion.
Yes. It's a terrible situation. Yes.
I know. And nobody's talking.
No, they won't say anything.
And nobody's allowed to talk. Yeah, it's terrible.
Yes.
It's really terrible. So, well, okay, no problem. I think you want to unmute the next person. Okay. Is our speaker back?
Hello, sir.
Yeah, Mr.
Yes,
Dr.
yes.
Steve is the next person. I've asked him to unmute. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you, ma. Thank you, Pastor, for the wonderful job you are doing and the team. I want to speak very briefly on 2 issues. Number one, the issue of democracy. We don't have democracy now. What we have is state capture. It's unfortunately, we need to have a decisive and be intentional about it, about elite consensus. What do we want for our country? Democracy, the kind of democracy does not seem to be a native of Africa. This democracy is not working for us. A group of people captured the political party, excluded all other people, and claimed to be there. The second issue is the issue of banditry. Banditry is a criminal enterprise run by politicians. I want to share with you, I read a document, a well-researched document. I live in the North, and I know this area very well. The research was done by Professor Dr. Mohammed Ahmed Rufai of Department of History, Usman Dan Fodio University in 2021. He spent 10 years studying banditry in Zamfara State. According to his report, banditry is like going to Mushi and you say you want to do party and you ask who is the leader of the area boys here, who will not disturb my party. The smallest boy will point to his house for you. This professor listed the names and telephone numbers and addresses of all bandit leaders in Zamfara. And he listed the number of bandits that are in different camps. And he took pictures with them. Do we want to say that if a professor can do that, and he got the people and he documented it in a well-researched document and shared it publicly, how come our state system, the enterprise of state that has monopoly of violence, cannot identify the bandits and fish them out? In 2027, all the places we call the bandits
bandit enclave. They will vote, they will return votes. Politicians are using the bandit. And banditry is not new. It has always been here. And then politicians are now empowering them and encouraging them. One of the reasons for Uthman Fodio jihad in 1804 was banditry. Because the Hausa rulers were unable to fight the bandit. Uthman Fodio came, fought the bandit, sent them back to Mali. And it was when he was coming back, the people now said, why don't you not be our leader? So our leaders must be intentional. They must fight the bandit. They must drive them out. We cannot fence the border according to them, but we must be able to protect our people. Until we're able to do this, how come there was no bandit under the military rule? So it is because the politicians encouraged them, they used them. El-Rufai told us that they paid 100 million naira to a group so that they will not come back, and the people demanded for another 100 billion naira. So they know them, they know their addresses. El-Rufai said, we listen to their conversation, we know where they came from. So if those leaders know them and they use them, and they use them to dislodge Jonathan, we should expect more banditry coming, because they will use them again in 2027. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, who is next now, please?
Sorry, I was muted. We have Mr. Omonua. Please, we've asked you to unmute, and then we have Pastor Awolowo and Auntie Yemisi. Mr. Omogun, please go ahead and unmute yourself. And we've asked you to unmute. Okay, if you're not able to unmute, we're going to ask Pastor Awolowo, and then we'll come back to you. Pastor Awolowo, can you unmute? We've asked you to unmute.
Good evening. Yes, I've been able to do it now. Thank you, my dear sister. Thank you, Pastor Itua. First of all, I want to, when Mr. Sani was talking, he spoke of the Fulani and sort of hinted on the Hausa as well. One of the things that we have discovered and we have learned over time is that the Fulani grouping is not limited to Nigeria. You have Fulani all over the place, and there's a mixture of interests there. Many Fulani groups penetrating into Nigeria. You know, that's number one. Number two, this war, this banditry that we have in the north, you know, is putting people in a position of resistance and collaboration. The same government that is resisting, especially when we had President Buhari, it was also, you know, from documentary evidence, it was also speaking because it was very much attached to the Fulani hegemony and all that. And we see that what we see with President Bola Tinubu is a continuum. He has not for one day criticized the misgivings of the last government. And so it's almost impossible for him to tackle the present day problem. Somebody just spoke about democracy, and we are asking for democracy, which is government by the people, for the people, through the people, and everything to do with the people. And then we have the issue whereby he also spoke in the same vein of meritocracy. Meritocracy means that the very best, you know, when we remove tribal sentiment, religious sentiment, we are asking for the best. And my question, if, you know, the speaker was here, was that how do we separate, you know, with all the mixtures of tribalism and all that, how do we get the best in terms of meritocracy to be the president or to be the leaders and all that? Just to add, I remember when President Bola Tinubu was in exile, I happened to be around him at that time, and I saw how he tried to pull back the many potential leaders back to Nigeria, which he did. You know, I was surprised to see that many of them went back home with him. But that same point, you know, for example, you know, Dele Momodu started Ovation through that time, and at a point, he was literally promoting Abacha. You see, so because of this, you know, the education, the mindset, is warped, is mixed, and this battle is not going to be as transparent as we want it to. Unfortunately, it's the one speaking against the government vehemently, but it stands, and its stand is not so apparent to everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Omogun, are you able to unmute now, or should I go to the next person? Okay. We still can't. You can't unmute. Auntie Yemisi, good evening, Auntie. Can you unmute? Oh, yes. Okay. Go ahead, Mr. Omogun.
Yeah. Good evening, everybody. You see, I saw the reason I came into this meeting today, right? I heard that Shehu was coming to speak to us, one of the former senator. You see, this problem we have about insecurity in Nigeria, all over the world, not just Nigeria, it's all over the world right now. It's deeper than what we are thinking. And we shouldn't be pointing fingers to particular tribe. When we continue to point finger like that, we will never get to the root of what is happening. I read yesterday when this governor of Sonodo of Anambra State said 29% of the kidnapping killing in the Igbo land, everybody they have caught is an Igbo, no Fulani. That's where we are getting it wrong. We shouldn't be pointing finger, because this thing is deeper everywhere. Even in the United States, there are things that is going on here. I live in New York. Things is going on here right now. They don't want to expose it. If they expose it, the government is keeping it secret and they are tackling it. The people behind it, they are arresting them, putting them in jail if they are not surrendered. So please, this Nigeria insecurity is the deep state. It's deeper than what we think. Okay, so I don't know if America, it took a long time for America to tackle the house with this AI. The investigation will be going over 20 years. Those people didn't know. They were able to mark them. Now they got the full list. They know who they want. So there's no way they can escape this. America already tackled their security already. But for Nigeria, I don't know about Nigeria. That Nigeria insecurity, I'm sorry to say, is deeper than what we do. Thank you.
Thank you. Auntie Yemisi, please go ahead, ma.
Hello, everyone, Pastor, all the various pastors on the platform. Thank you all so much for all that you are doing. My dear Jumoke, always up and doing. Bele, Kushe, God will reward you thereafter. Even some of it right here on earth. And this is precisely what we are encouraging our young people to do. Senator Shehu Sani is definitely of the old guard who brought this democracy to be. I was one of them. And I am always a little bit wary when the next generation seem to think that we won that battle, but we're now kind of either laid back or we agree with what's going on and are a little bit more complacent. We should still be in that military combative mode that we were in the trenches, and all of that. And what I have to say is that we are an emerging democracy. We are not a democracy yet. we're not people that have cultures that are democratic. Most people are autocratic in their homes. They command this and command that. Most people are terrorists in their organizations. The boss's word is law. How dare you even look at him one kind? You are gone. So we are moving slowly, impatiently, into the state where we can have, and it probably won't happen till the next generation comes in, because the next generation is more aware of cultural and democratic practices, where the young people, they speak up, they've been given the space in their families to challenge authority. They have given spaces to be innovative and bring, new ideas into, into the operations of their country. So I really want the next generation to be a little bit more sort of less disappointed in us, because we want the change, but we realize that it cannot be done in this gra way again. And it requires that people be more engaged, be more aware, be more educated about what democracy is all about anyway, be more organize themselves, and join the political process in whichever way they can. They don't have to run for office, but if the numbers that are complaining are in take over any one of these political parties and make sure they have secretary or any of the organs of the political parties that are the most, we are the citizens are dead dogs, because by the time we go and vote for at the polls, we're served with, Hobson's choices. You can't really tell much difference from the people that are turned up for us to elect in the final. So if young people are inside the political parties where you can influence the primaries, influence the way the governance process, even the democratic process within the political parties, I think it will make a difference. And I have to disagree. I think it was Pastor Igoda that was saying nobody's allowed to talk. We're all talking. We have one of the freest presses in Africa. You can't say the same thing in Sudan or Congo or wherever it is, that even Rwanda, that we all think is doing pretty well. Because of this delicate stage of that we are, where we have not transitioned into the full democracy. Yes, you will have jittery operators within the system who are not used to democracy. They're not Democrats in their mindsets. They're not Democrats in their practices. Who are just zombies in the way they operate. The government has said do this, they will do it without even thinking about it. So how we, the citizens, should be aware of where we are. Be real, not think in utopian terms. Be real about where we are in this journey, in our democratic journey, and begin to organize to affect it strategically, not just talking about it, but engaging with it. So we are talking. People are talking there. Every time I watch Morning Brief or Rufai Sani on Arise, they are saying everything that needs to be said. So people are talking, but we're not organized enough. We're not really organized with our interventions. We talk and then we come back the next week and we say the same thing. What have we done between what you disapproved of or you are complaining about this week from the next week? So people have to be a little bit more strategic in their interventions. And somebody talked about the people of Rivers State. It's the people of Rivers State that should be complaining about the CCTV. What is my own in Lagos State? I should be more worried about whatever it is that the governor in Lagos State is doing, what my local government chairman is doing. So I think we all have to also begin to look at what changes we want to make in the areas we live and have influence. Because it means that you don't have the the moxie, the courage to face your own people. Why are you abusing the River State? If the River State people say they want him to have CCTV, so what's your problem? Unless you are from River State. So I think people should be more focused on what's happening in their state and their local governments and engage more effectively at those levels. And then even with this platform, if people are experiencing particular things in their state, I think we should bring those things up for action so that we can all rally around particular issues, not general things that you have experienced. You have been to so and so. You've seen this thing happen. Bring it up, and then we can get the numbers from the group to say, okay, we're going to write a letter to the local government and get evidence, not just you heard something. Get the evidence, take the picture, come here, post it. We'll mobilize thousands of people to come and march with you to your state governor or local government chairman. And I think those are sort of direct things I wanted to ask Senator Sani more about the actions that we can take and then table it and begin to act on that. Selecting pertinent issues, 1, 2, 3, for the next 6 months, this is one we're going to do. And the other thing I think we need to do, there's several organizations that are working so hard, so effectively. I was speaking to Mr. Samson Otodo of Yaga Africa a couple of days ago. I needed his number for something. And, that's a young man I'm so proud of. I have so many of them that I interact with. I have the head of the Nigerian network of NGOs that is doing things globally about reforms in the development sector. We have the guy in Kolawole in Serap who is taking government to court. There's budget, Onigbinde, that is, spending all his time looking at the budget. But how many people take the time to look at what these people have done and say, okay, I'm going to donate 10,000 naira even every month towards these guys have to go and look for funding from donors all over the place. Nigerians just want to complain. Come and donate to their efforts. They will not put their hand in their pocket. So I think more of what we have to do is find out what is working. What are people doing that is likely to move us, even if it's a little bit forward? What are the bills in front of that? They're doing their constitutional reform now. We should take one of these sessions on Thursday to look at all these reforms that are being reviewed at the moment, constitutional, electoral, whatever it is. Pick one or two that we are passionate about and begin to make, that's the kind of noise I want to hear, the kind of talk I want to hear, educating people about it, sending delegation, giving Pastor Itua a letter to go and present to the National Assembly that this is the position of ALG and its members around 1, 2, 3 issues. So these action things are things that I think we can do to really make a difference. To really make a difference. I'm not as discouraged about Nigeria as most people, because a lot of it is noise. We hear too much about what the opposition is saying. The opposition is bashing this one, and the other one is bashing the other one, and we waste our time listening to them. And when they leave bashing each other, they go and marry each other's daughter, have their parties, enjoy themselves. So I don't really listen to them. I focus on what I can see, witness, and evidence that is going wrong in this particular area. And then I'll organize people. We'll go and meet the person that is in charge of solving the problem. We've just had a meeting with the Commissioner for Urban Planning a couple of weeks ago with the groups I manage. Go and sit with them. What is your problem? Why can't this be done? And what it is that we can do to make sure it is done, because these people are not from Mars. They are our friends, they are brothers, they are sisters, they are people who we can approach, and I think in their best moments, they want to succeed. They want to make these things happen. So how do we organize ourselves to engage them so that even those of them who are fighting the battles within the government, we know many of them who want to do reforms, but the battle is within their own colleagues in government. So they need people like us to lean on, give information to, without having to expose themselves. We can take it up and make things happen and solve some of these problems. Just my 2 cents for now. Thank you for
so
giving
much,
me the
Auntie.
opportunity.
Thank you.
All right.
We have 3 hands up, and then Pastor Sani will come up with his own comments and remarks. Dr. Fakbunda, please go ahead, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. I want to commend Senator Sani so articulate in what ails Nigeria and the solutions. I can only give information to this house. There is the body called the Patriots, led by Chief Emeka Anyaoku. They're organizing a national summit in Abuja on Tuesday and Wednesday, finishing on Thursday. It's a body that needs to be taken seriously. It is to draft an alternative to 1999 Constitution. I happen to be in the secretariat of the summit, and we have done a lot of proactive work. We haven't drafted what the summit is supposed to just ratify. Though there'll be some lectures, but it's not just talk shop. And it's stated that on Thursday, the body will pay a courtesy call on the president to deliver what must have been agreed. But very, very importantly, we have articulated about 60-item questionnaire online that addresses all the features of what we want to change in the Constitution of Nigeria as it is. I will circulate it to the secretariat to Jumoke later this evening. I want all of us to feed that questionnaire to say whether we're actually doing a poll. We can actually have up to 5,000, 10,000 responses on the poll. That will give us empirical data on what Nigerians really want. And we're going to summarize the outcome of the poll as a part of the report that will be given to Mr. President next week. So if we actually have an actionable item now, it is this summit that is taking place this coming week. I've already shared documents on the summit to Jumoke already, and there's a link for people to register for the summit. The summit is self-funding. We all contributed our own money, no government sponsorship at all. And you register. You can register to attend the conference, the summit virtually. So you see what is going on. We have already drafted what's supposed to be resolutions of the meeting to be ratified. We have done a lot of proactive work in advance so that the meeting, though it's 2 days, the result is likely to be close to what was done in 2014. All the issues have been distilled, have been synthesized for us to really agree. What do we want in the new structure? If that meeting of this week succeeds, the outcome will be a document that will be an alternative to the 1999 Constitution. It's now left for all of us to buy into it, to say, look, we want a change. And the senator said now, we don't need bicameral legislature. We don't need it. We don't need 600 people making laws. We don't need 36 governors sharing security vote. So his thinking agree with what we are thinking about in the Patriots Committee that I'm a member. I will appreciate it for all the documents circulated to all members that have shared. This night or later tomorrow morning, the questionnaire online poll will be ready.
Okay.
I also share it with Jumoke for sharing it to everybody. Thank you very much.
Thank you. If I just point of information, we would really have appreciated if you had coordinated this with us so that we can have a proper way of presenting it to our members. So that just going forward, we are all in this together, and we should be working together for the interest in moving Nigeria forward. So maybe going forward, we would have better coordination for me to get the information from you ahead of time, submit
No,
it to,
I'm just
yeah.
getting.
So just,
We are just
no,
working from
yeah, I'm
school.
saying that
It's not
I'm
my fault.
just,
I'm
it
just
would
taking
be
my
good.
initiative. I'm not even
Okay.
sent. I'm just taking my initiative as a member of the committee. I'm not even telling them what I'm talking to you. But I know it's a national interest
Okay.
for this body to hear about it. So I
Oh,
have no
okay.
blame at all for sharing
Yeah.
the information.
Yeah. So I'm just saying sharing such the information is very important. So I personally
Your
would
best.
like
Do your
us to
best.
have
That's all.
better
Do your best.
coordination. Yeah.
Do your best.
Okay. I'll follow up with you behind the scenes and see where we can come in as an organization. Thank you so much for that submission. Professor Grange, please go ahead, ma.
Thank you very much, Jumoke, and thank you, pastors, for making this happen again today, that we can talk to everybody or to each other. I'm glad that Dr. Fakponda has given us the information about what the Patriots are up to. I happen to be a member of the Patriots as well. And we have gotten the questionnaire and we are responding to it from the diaspora perspective. So you should be getting our own response by the end of the day. I just want to say that I think we are now tackling this collapse of our democracy in the right way. And that is that we as citizens are the ones to fix it. Democracy has definitely collapsed in Nigeria because you see the three major elements of democracy are not actually being they're not respected. Electoral integrity, separation of powers, credible dispensation of justice. These are general things that should be happening within a democracy, but we know that they are not happening. Just to say that as citizens, we are actually the most important people in Nigeria. If we want to fix democracy, we have to do it ourselves as citizens. To underscore this, former President Carter chose to be called a citizen after leaving office. Being a citizen is an active role, just as my sister Jumoke has said. And, she has given us examples of what she's doing as a citizen to try and get democracy to work. This is our role. And the other day, I posted something on our platform about how some people, or I think, let me try and remember it now. Yes, some what do you call them? The volunteers. Some volunteers. That's right. Collected money and gave to some children.
An orphanage.
Orphanage, to an orphanage. That's it. That's the word that went from my head. To an orphanage. And lo and behold, the food, it was food. Everything was being shared or eaten by the people who were looking after the orphanage. So these people, these volunteers were so disappointed, and they started shouting on the women. The thing to note was that these women did not think that they had done anything wrong. And they were shouting back that, so what is it? Why are you so angry with us? We only, did what we thought we should do. So this is the problem with citizens now. They have been so demoralized, so pauperized that, they really don't know what is right or wrong anymore. So it is now up to us to get back to citizens, educating the citizens to make sure that unless they are not cheating each other, they will not recognize how government is cheating them, and therefore they will not recognize that they should claim their rights. Let me, not go too far into this, but the definite problem that we have is with us, citizens. We've got budget, we've got another organization which is known as Intervention Human Rights Protection Services. I just came across them the other day, and they were working in Akwa Ibom State and gave us a lowdown on resources that had been disbursed to the local governments of Akwa Ibom State. They're there in black and white, but nobody is asking them about how these resources are being expended. These are the issues with us now. We have to work with these organizations and find out what actually is going on and how we can turn things around as citizens of Nigeria for a better Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We have Mr. Akindeko. Please go ahead, sir.
Thank you very much, Jumoke. And truly, I'm so glad I have this opportunity to be able to join in, and occasionally, when I'm not in the middle of my farm, I'm able to get enough signal to be able to participate in some of these fantastic debates that you guys organize. Well done. Thank you. I'm sorry I'm so much in sync with what Professor Grange has just said. And I think Yemisi said something similar, and Yemisi said something similar down the road, which is that democracy requires people to be ready to get up and organize themselves to respond to things that are going on in the country. We lost this culture. Most of us who are my age, I'm 70 now, we all grew up in an environment where protesting government action or inaction was a natural. As far back as 1971, when I was in international school in Ibadan, the students organized protests against the school authority because we didn't like some of the decisions they made. This is actually something that is so fundamental to democracy functioning, which is why what needs to happen in this country has to be close to a revolution to reorientate our attitude towards protesting. We must not remain cowed. I'm sorry to throw cold water on some of our June 12ers, but I left school, university, and joined my father in NPN. When my father died, I became one of the foot soldiers of late Malam Adamu Chiroma. I chose to follow those people because I wanted a lifelong career in politics, and they were the kind of leaders I felt I could work for. I must remind us that even the great MKO was a member of the political elite in NPN. And he was one of the ones who actually started to monetize the political process. That was why Umaru Diko, of blessed memory, had to confront him because Alhaji Shehu Shagari, our president, was so meek and sweet. It took Umaru Diko to stand up to MKO and said that the Nigerian presidency was not for sale. Unfortunately, Umaru Diko, who himself was no saint, lost out. Even our current president, God bless him and God allow him to be able to change this thing and have his road to Damascus experience along the way. Even he was a foot soldier of MKO as well. So this monetization of the system, which has locked all good people in Nigeria out of political leadership, started a very long time ago, is now abroad,
and is prevalent. So unless we face those two things, and the laws are there in our books to make sure that these things are under control. But as we all know, our institutions cannot cope. How many top security officers can resist $1 million? I don't believe there are many. There's certainly not enough. So just to cut to the chase, I'm so grateful for Sani to make the time to come across all the way from Kaduna. Intellectually, we are all of the same background, the ones that are speaking on these matters now, whether they are Fulani or Igbo or Yoruba. What draws all of us together is that we have that same mental attitude. We know what needs to be done. We are just not being allowed to access power. So what we need to know within this group is that, yes, we can go back to our grassroots. I grew up in England. I now live in Idore/Owo. So I can take it happily. Many of us cannot leave our comfort zones. But if it's either we go back home to the grassroots to mentor some of these youngsters who still want to do the right thing, or we find a way to change that culture whereby our individuals will no longer be yes men and be ready to organize themselves into protests and hope that they get it right. But without us leaving our own comfort zones, this monetization that has taken over the whole system will not be resisted by the people out there. They're too impoverished. I'll leave it there because I am a bit of a talker myself, but I think I've put across enough of my own experience and hope that the good people amongst you use that experience to develop a momentum that will eventually allow this country to get things right. Thank you very much indeed. God bless.
Thank you so much, Uncle. And we'll definitely be following up with you for our mentorship program for you to mentor the up and coming. Thank you for those comments. Over to you, Pastor Sani. I believe he had some comments of his own, and then we'll hand over to Mr. President to close. Thank you. Pastor Sani. Oh, please unmute. We've asked you to unmute, sir. Okay.
Thank you very much, Sajimoke. And I have listened. You know, we keep talking about Nigeria. The reason why we do this every Thursday is because we have not given up and we cannot give up on Nigeria. We believe that Nigeria can indeed be better and it will be better. We keep chipping away at the wood gradually, and eventually we would hopefully get to the place that we desire. But as many people have said, as for this current crop of leadership that we have in Nigeria, they can't lead us anywhere. Not this current government, not the people planning to take over from them because they have been there before. You know the proverb that says the morning tells the day. When you see a government that really wants to work for the people, you don't need a soothsayer, you don't need anybody to tell you. From the way they start, you will know that these people are ready to work for the people, not this government. There is no sign, not the government at the national, not many of the state governments. We haven't seen a sign. You know, we keep pushing. You know, so when people come here and make selective praise, oh, the government is trying what? You know, what are they trying? We can't see any sign because there is nothing that the government is doing for us that they are doing to take part in it. Is it the schools they are fixing so that their children can go to those schools? Or is it the hospitals that they are fixing so that they themselves can attend those hospitals? Or is it the road that they are fixing so that they can travel on the road themselves? So everything they are doing is like they are doing us a favor. Let's just patch up these things and give to these people. They don't want to partake in those things. They have their own idea of what they should be doing. But I thought that this program was about, speaking to reprogramming. And reprogramming in the right sense means that you have to unfreeze or unlearn what you have learned, then relearn what you need to learn, and then implement what you have learned. So in other words, unfreeze, absorb, and refreeze. With this current crop of generation, can we get it? Difficult. So what do? We need to go down to the very basics. Primary, nursery, secondary school, patriotism. How do we inculcate that? Civic education is no longer in our curriculum. Children that have grown up in chaos. A child that was born in 1999 is 25 years or so today, or 26. He was born in democracy, but he has never known democracy. It's more or less the same thing like those that were born during the military era. They have never seen anything good. From the time they were born, they have had their parents complaining about light, about no water, about hardship. They are adults, the complaint is still the same. How do you want such a child to be patriotic? Nothing has worked. They have seen their parents retire from civil service. Their pensions are not paid. They are dying on the queue. And we say they are the ones that will be patriotic and lead the nation tomorrow. We can only hope, because hope is something that nobody can take away from you. And because we have hope, the God that we serve will help us. And we'll continue to do what we are doing. Talking on this platform, when we have the opportunity, we would engage, like we have suggested. When we have the chance, we'll also try to organize ourselves to put forward better ideas like they are doing during the Constitutional Conference. But, Nigeria is a real case study that we need to study what is really going on. Which one do we want to talk about? Is it insecurity? Is it economy? There is no area you want to talk about. We say something is bad, it's affecting 100,000 people, and you have solved 10, and you are saying you are trying. What is 10 out of 10,000, out of 100,000? And you say you are trying. Oh, it didn't start with me, and this thing has been there for long. Insecurity was there before I came. Oh, the country was like this during Obasanjo, during Jonathan. What are we saying? So I like the fact that we are optimistic, but please don't tell these politicians that they are doing well. They are not. Because when we say, oh, they are trying, they have done this, they have implemented this, who are they implementing it for? It's okay. I rest my case. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Do we have any other hands up? We don't have any other comments before we hand over to Mr. President to close. Okay. All right. Auntie, please go ahead. And there are no other hands up, so we'll take that and then we'll hand over to Mr. President. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Jumoke. Thank you, Pastor Sani. I am a perpetual optimist, and my modus is to praise those who are doing good stuff, because there are quite a few amongst them. The governor of Abia is doing some fantastic things in Abia. The governor of Enugu is doing some fantastic things in Enugu. Governor Sule in Nasarawa, and a few of them. Because if you just condemn all of them, no matter what they do, then they get discouraged and say, well, why bother? So I think we should, to an extent, give some, I don't want to use the word praise, because they're doing the work that they have been elected to do, and they're being paid handsome salaries for doing it. But in order to encourage those who are at least trying, and to set examples for those who are not doing enough, I think we need to acknowledge whatever efforts they're making. Like and those who are inside this political arena, if you talk to them, you will also feel some level of sympathy regarding the demands that are made on them, the saboteurs in their midst, the various interests that they have to pacify and satisfy just to do one or two things. Senator Sani just mentioned the governor of Kaduna. He's doing some fantastic things. So we really need to be clinical and strategic about how we engage. Acknowledge what is going well, what they're doing right, because they also want to impress us. In Lagos State, the Commissioner for Information is always posting one thing or the other that the governor is doing this. In Lagos State, we have a citizens gate where you can post any information about things that are going wrong, and the officials are supposed to take it up. And one thing I have found is that our people just love to complain a lot. When it comes to getting a little bit of moxie and courage to chase it to a logical conclusion, they won't. Part of my work with the World Bank was to create their environment for citizens to engage with their public officers. We created apps for them. We created platforms, online, phone numbers, this and that, so that they can register their complaints. And we made it so that once they register, it gets to the governor, who can also monitor whoever it is that's supposed to solve that problem. But the citizens do not use it. If we want to spend any energy at all, I want us to spend it blaming ourselves, focusing the responsibility on us, not blaming as in, being derogatory, but to get to a position where we say we take responsibility for this democracy. They say it's government by the people, for the people, by the people. So the people themselves must say, I'm going to take responsibility for how it's going. And if it's not going right, I must make some more effort to find out why is it not, what else should I do? Who else should I engage? What else, what other partners can I work with to make sure that the thing is done? When people like me have taken up causes, we have gotten to logical solutions because we pester these people until they do whatever it is. And because they want to get you off their necks, they will do it. So we must all organize a little bit more effectively. And, just one person speaking may not solve the problem for us. In an organized fashion, everybody on the platform form a local government or a state government group, or join the ones that are still exist. In Lagos, we have Lagos Civil Society Partnership. Some local governments have their own whatever organizations. Join and begin to organize at that level and make sure that you're elected because they want to win election. So but they say the requests they get from citizens are, get me a job. My daughter is getting married. My mother has just died. I'm ill. I need to go to hospital. That is what they get. That is the demands that they get from the citizens that they engage with. And they're mostly the people that vote. So they usually satisfy those demands. So that's why they keep winning elections. But if citizens are begin to reorientate themselves that the demands they're going to make from the elected officers is not personal demands. It is fix the school. It is fix the road. It is make sure there is employment. It is, whatever it is that is the problem in your local government, that is part of governance and ensuring that there's common, the issues are things that are that touch other people's lives, not just individuals or a few people who need jobs or whatever it is. And you will see the change. They will react, they will respond because they now know that the game has changed. Nobody's asking them for personal whatever it is again. These people want the school, right? We will give it to them. That's what has to change. I really want us to make sure that we, the people, realize that the buck stops with us, not the few thousand people that are in public office. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ma. And I think I'll just take a couple of announcements and then hand over to Mr. President. Thank you. We meet here every Thursday, 5 p.m. West African time, just a different topic, and we're keeping the same Zoom link. And also, I put in the chat a link to join the organization if you are interested in participating in ALG in any way. Please go ahead and complete the link to that form, and we'll be sharing information with you. Again, we have a lot of programs, exciting programs. I know people say we talk, but there's a lot of doing. We've been doing a lot of work with our youths, the Citizens Responsibility or Citizens Awareness Program at Yemisi. You talked about that. Thank you for volunteering to be a facilitator of that. Those are some of the things we are doing. We graduated the third cohort, I think, last month. So there's a lot of work to do. Please be engaged with the Africa Leadership Group, and we welcome all hands on deck. We also have the Ito Olajide Godalo Mentorship Program, Real, Responsible, Ethical, and Accountable Leaders. That's a mentorship program. Uncle Akintayo, that's the one I said I will be inviting you to join. And as many of you that are interested in passing those strong leadership skills, ethical and accountable leadership skills to the next generation, we invite you to join us on that program. And there are many more that we'll be sharing with you as time goes on. But thank you again for joining. Please fill the link and feel free to share the information about this platform to other Nigerians. We also have a YouTube link that you can get today's recording on and then share that as well. And we've been sending out newsletters or summary of today's meeting in print as well online. So we'll be sharing that with you as well. Thank you again. Over to you, sir. Mr. President.
Well, just to thank everybody again. A very good session. And for all the discussion, sorry we lost our principal speaker, but I think we all were able to talk and converse and come to some conclusions. So I thank you all very much for coming. I wish you all the best of the rest of this evening, and I wish you a very wonderful, wonderful weekend. The Lord will bless us all and keep us and strengthen us and direct our paths in Jesus' name. We'll still work hard at Nigeria. We'll still work hard at making Nigeria great again. We'll still work hard at making Nigeria a blessing. And Nigeria will indeed be a blessing to all of us in Jesus' name. Don't lose hope. Keep up the faith. And let's just keep at it. All right. Bye-bye.